I'm Anita Helm. I think you all remember me, and I've been coming around to your games. I was asked to come back and do a kind of a follow-up check-in, so that's what I'm going to do. I know your expectations are that we're going to talk about romantic relationships, but I was invited to your first pitch dinner. Had the opportunity to not be in, play clothes. And so one of the comments that was told to me by, it was some of you appreciating when I came, some of the people that are your loved ones and your friends. There was a comment that said, I wish we had talked about business relationships. And I'm going to show you in the few minutes that I have that some of the same things that we talked about a romantic relationship are going to actually involve your business relationships. And these 5 pillars here, can't say them, but I'll repeat them again. They're going to have to do with your business relationships. And some of you, how many of you are seniors? Okay. So some of these things are going to really apply to you to listen really good, because you have this situation where in May or whenever you're going to graduate in this year, people are going to be asking you in the midst of doing your baseball, doing your classing, having the relationships, everything going on with your family and your friends. Oh, you got your graduation announcements out? What are you going to put that you're going to be doing? Do you have a job yet? All these questions, you're like, what? That's pressure. But I want to talk to some things today that's going to help with that pressure. I don't have a job to offer you, but I think if I give you some feedback and help, because I've been a hiring manager and a program manager for almost, I won't tell you, but over 25 years, okay? So I'm going to tell you some things that people are going to be looking for in you when you start your job, and even you juniors and sophomores and freshmen. You got to be thinking about this, because one day you're going to be in the same position as these seniors. And it sounds like they look real tough, like everything's going on, but this is a frightening time for everybody. And I want to set you at ease to say, like I said before, you're not going to have everything together. You're not going to possibly have your perfect 40-year job. They don't really exist. They never did. But you may find the right opportunity that'll be a right fit for you. So let me recap a couple of things that we talked about the first round so we can get it straight for even business relationships. The first one is there's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect job. There's no perfect pay. Even if you get that great job, it starts you off. Eventually you're going to say, I want more. There's no perfect supervisor, no perfect team lead. There's no perfect coworkers. There's no perfect cafeteria. There's no perfect office or remote scenario. There's nothing perfect. Guess what? You're not perfect, and your coworkers aren't going to be perfect. So just remember that when you get in there and you see people and you're like, oh, it started off so good, like a great honeymoon, like a great date. And then it just went south. Or it went great. You had a rough start, but then you all started to talk, get to know each other, and it got better. So the first thing to remember is no perfect relationship. The first person of yourself is the most important relationship, even in your job search and even when you get your job. Like I gave you the example of the visual, the foundation of the house. You're the person going into that job, that career, that opportunity. You're the person who's going to go to that interview once you get the interview, because some of you are going to have the situation. I'm going to give you a new visual. You're going to find seniors or even juniors who are going for jobs this summer, or sophomores, wherever you are, that you're putting out resumes if you started to write one and nobody's calling you back. Or they're saying, I'm so sorry, Avery, you're not the right fit. There are going to be things that are going to bust your ego and your self-esteem, because why aren't I getting the calls? He got his job offer. He's up there telling everybody how he's going to start working for ABC Corporation. Where's mine? What are my parents going to say? They just paid all this money for me to go to school. I'm not going to be doing baseball full time. 80% of my life has been on the field. What's going to happen to me now because I haven't gotten 5 job offers? And they're not offering the kind of money that I want to have. What am I going to do? Your first relationship of yourself has to be solid, because this is where you're going to get some fractures. This is where it's like, okay, what's going on? What am I going to do? Don't freak out. I'm telling my same daughter who's graduating next Saturday and her friends, don't freak out. You're going to get a job. It's not going to be a perfect job. It's not going to be the perfect salary, but you have some influence on making it the best it can be for your first 6 months to a year coming out. That's all I can tell you for this first phase. So the first person is you. And about the self-marketing I talked to you before, I have a presentation called Career. So I'm kind of putting relationships in career so you're going to be throwing things to you because I'm pulling things from career and relationships at the same time. When you go to self-market yourself, and I used that word last time about self-marketing yourself in a negative way, a not unhealthy way, when you go to interview, be honest about who you are, what you like, what your aspirations are. If you are taking a job that is not your perfect fit, you don't have to say that exactly, but say, I have aspirations of doing this piece in my life, and I think this will be beneficial. So that's why I think this is the right job for me to start out with. But I have the intention of wanting to grow to this area of expertise. If it's accounting and you want to do something else in business marketing, you want to do something else, I've learned accounting in my business classes, but I'm going to start here to learn and grow and understand the fundamental parts of the operation. But I do want to do more business marketing, but I'm starting here. The hiring manager will respect you being honest about what's going on. If he wants to take that opportunity and let you have that foot in the door, because something in you in that interview is really, I think this person will be a good fit for me. And that's what we hiring managers are looking for. We have to take so much time to go through 100 resumes, and some of it's lies, embellishments, whatever you all want to call it. And we got to see the person face to face or on the virtual camera and get a feel for them to say, is this the right person I want to take the time to onboard, to train them up, to get them to know what they're doing, especially you all coming out of college. You have energy, and we want energies to come into our companies, but we want the right energy. And because you've had the experience on a sports team, we know that you're driven, you're motivated, you want to do things well, and you've had people in your lives that have pushed you. And some jobs will push you, and that's a good thing. You don't ever want to get to a job situation where you're bored every day coming to work. That's why people drink and drug. Nobody wants to get up every morning to go to a place they hate. Just the reality of it. So your first person, the 5 pillars, we're going to talk about them, and guess which one is going to be the most important? Giving you the answer. The teacher's giving you the answer. Communications. Because everybody on your job needs to communicate. Even the robotics need to communicate. Even the AI, artificial intelligence, is communicating, is analyzing, is trying to figure out things so it can do algorithms and send things to you. People are going to be reading you. You're the new guys coming on. They're going to wonder, how did he get that job? Who did he know? What does he know? Did he have aunt, uncle, cousin? Did he get in here a different way than I had to do? What kind of money are they making? What is this guy going to do? He doesn't even look like he knows how to tie a tie. He looks younger than my youngest son. All kinds of things could come at you. But again, you know yourself. You know what value you're bringing to the table. So don't worry about what they say, because you don't want another person controlling themselves and you. And I'm going to talk about communication in a couple of respects. Healthy and unhealthy communication. But before I start that 5 pillars, I want to give you a new visual. I told you about the corner. In your workplace, you're going to have some corners. There are going to be team leads. There are going to be people who are helping you, shadow you, tell you the ropes, try to make sure that you get the right onboarding experience, not try to tear you down, but be the person that, if you got an issue, come see me. Sometimes it's a supervisor. Sometimes it's a coworker that's been there who just had the same situation happen with you. I forgot to turn my sound off. So those kind of people will be your corner. In the example that I said, a woman, your girlfriend, your partner, all those people, they could be your corner. But in this case, it could be somebody on your job. Now, the new visual I want you to think of, do y'all remember being in PE class? And in PE class, all of us had this situation where the PE teacher or coach said, okay, I need 2 arbitrary people. They picked them. They came up, captain of one team, captain of the other team. They had all of us line up, and you were playing some ball game, baseball, football, basketball, kickball, whatever the ball of significance was. We all had to come play this game. And these 2 captains were there. And of course, they picked their best bud. Come on up here. And the other one picks their best bud. And then they proceed in front of your face to look at the line and say, we want him. He's good. He's good. We don't want her. He's going to drop the ball. He's too short. He's too fat. Oh, no. All that talking, that's self-esteem busting. when you start to go for jobs, you start to hear that kind of, what are they talking about me? What are they saying behind the scenes? And your ego, again, is being deflated because you're like, you know how you felt on the PE line where you were, please God, don't let me be the last. Let me get in front of him. Let me get picked before them. And I'm going to show them. They think I'm slow. This is my game. They think I don't know how to throw and pitch and I run. I'm going to show them because I can do it. And what they think about me is wrong. That's the PE example, because as you start to get job offers or don't get job offers, you're going to feel like you're right back on the PE line. And why doesn't anybody want you? Okay. Now, in the example of healthy versus unhealthy, I'm going to give you the example of being talked to on your job. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking to you. I'm having a conversation with you, or I've called you all in a team meeting and I'm the supervisor and I'm talking to everybody that's working for me. It's an all hands meeting. It's a staff meeting, whatever the meeting is. I'm talking to you. And this is a healthy environment of talking to. I'm going to tell you what the expectations are. We're so glad for the class of you all to come in. If you have questions, go to HR. We have a great supervisor. This person right here is your supervisor. We also have team leads. We're going to have people work with you, shadow you, any training you need. We're going to have a great opportunity to make you succeed. That's talking to, and it's a healthy situation. And they're being honest. They don't want you to fail. Now, here's an unhealthy talking to you. You've just started your job. It's not a big team. I'm going to talk to you, but I promise it's just the example. You find that when I talk to you, I'm disrespecting you. I am disregarding. When you start to talk, I just dismiss what you have to say. I disparage what you're even thinking about. You come to talk to me, it's like, I don't have time for you. Go talk to somebody. I don't want to talk to you. You're the new guy. Dismissing you, disparaging you, disgusting you, disappointing you. All those disses. It's a smorgasbord of dissing. When you get to that environment of unhealthy, you got some decisions to make, guys. Just like you have decisions to make all of your life. With a girl, woman, if a woman makes you feel like crap, if a woman is making you feel less, if anybody in your workplace or your relationship life is making you feel like you're inadequate, your first person doesn't deserve her, that person at your job, you don't deserve to be here. I don't think you really deserve to be here. That is unhealthy. And I know that you all come from a sporting life, but what you can get away with, and I use the word get away with, in the sporting world is not the same as what happens in your business relationships. We are covered by the hostile workplace, equal opportunity rules and laws on discrimination. And we can't just talk to you anyway. We can't treat you anyway. We can't disparage you. We can't humiliate you. We can't give you prejudices or bias or things that are against you because of exterior things. It doesn't happen in business. And if it does, you have the decision to say, one, do you go and privately and respectfully talk to that person that's doing that to you? You say, and here's a reflective listening example. What's your first name again? Jacob. I'm a new employee working for you, Jacob. We're privately talking. I don't know if you realize this, but when I hear you talking and giving me feedback on my work, it feels as though the communication is very destructive. I don't know if you mean it to be that way, but the way I'm receiving it, you're saying things to me that are not giving me constructive feedback on my work and how I can get it better. You seem like you're always attacking me. And I don't know what's going on with that, but I wanted to privately talk to you about it because I think it's important if we're going to have a good working relationship. And that's what I want. Pause. That's scary as crap. Jacob could be his first line supervisor. Is he going to lose his job? Is Jacob going to attack him on his evaluation? He's got bills to pay. He's got student loans. His parents are all excited. Everybody's excited because he's got this job with ABC Corporation. And Jacob is the person who's there as a supervisor. He wasn't the guy that he sat down with for the interview, but he is the guy that now is controlling my career. But that's the thing. Jacob is a supervisor, yes. What he controls is still in your power. Because if Jacob is doing things that are destructive, the person who hired you and the management structure and the company name and the reputation, They don't want a culture where the people coming in as new, energetic, smart, state-of-the-art brains coming in, and their first experience is to have somebody like Jacob discouraging, disrespecting, and all of a sudden a mass exodus of talent. And instead of them getting some reputation of the number one employer in the Washington, D.C. area or in Orlando and wherever, they got people we call this word attrition. They have high attrition rates because everybody is coming in the door and they're coming right back out. And they're going to say, what's going on? We've got people like Jacob who are unhealthy. And guess what? Unhealthy people, I won't call you Jacob anymore, sorry. Unhealthy people as managers are disruptive to the whole environment. And all about business is about making money. Yeah, we have people and we have technologies and equipment, but it's about making money, profit and losses. But in order to do that, we have to sell products or services, and we need people to be in the seats to do it, or at the computer or wherever it's going to be. So communication could be either healthy or unhealthy. Here's something about talking about healthy. This is an example of, so I told you about talking to, which is healthy and unhealthy. Here's talking about. I'm going to show you an example of being talked about in a healthy way. So I'm going to use you. Remind me again? Jake. I'm your supervisor, but I'm talking to, what's your name? Adam. Adam and I are having a conversation about Jake. We're talking about Jake. I'm the senior manager. Adam is his supervisor. I'm bringing him, how is Jake doing? You're giving me feedback. I saw something in one of his writings that I think he's going to be a good writer. I want you to talk to him the next time you sit down with him to see if he's interested in going into that class that I just saw. And then in addition, he may be a good communicator. Talk to Jake. And I also remember the other young lady that came in. I want you to find out if she has that same interest, and then see if they want to go to Toastmasters because they may need some communication skills. Also, I want to make sure I'm going to a conference that's going to be in California, San Diego, I think in June. Find out if both of them want to come because they're new. I want them to get to know me, but I want them also to understand that we have some opportunities for both of them. That's positive, healthy communication. Management is valuing what they see in their new talent coming on board. And that supervisor, he heard what I said. Now, when he comes back and talks to Jake and to the other person, is he going to wonder, why didn't he ask me to go with him to San Diego? That shouldn't be in the mix, but sometimes it is because he wants to rise. And why are these young people getting these advantages? That's why you have to understand there's all kinds of dynamics going on play because they're going to say, why is he getting the opportunity and I'm not getting the opportunity? That's where that supervisor needs to talk to that upper manager, say, I'm interested. If they can't go, I'd like to go with them. And it should be, I should know what your aspirations are. You want to be next level under me. You want to be the next level. Everybody wants to progress. Nobody wants to stay in the 12th grade forever. So you have to understand that. When you start to go into these interviews, guys, and I usually say guys and girls, but guys, make sure that you've done your research. Because when people are talking about you, they normally are talking about what they've heard you say you want in your career. So when you sit down at these interviews, make sure you look at what the requisition or the opportunity says. We want the following people, and this is the experience we want. Even if it's a stretch, I'm not saying lie, but if it's a stretch, you've done some of it, you've had some experience in school, some experience in volunteering, some experiencing with your, could be your charitable organizations you've been working with or your grandparents' business, whatever. Put that information down on your resume as best you can. And in the interview, market that. Be truthful about that. But tell them things that you have learned in your research. For example, you'd never go to an interview and you don't look up the information on the company. You should be going into LinkedIn, you should be going into Google, and you should be putting up that company's name to see what articles are written about, because when you start to talk to them, you need to be dropping information of your research. And if you know the name of the person, because they say, okay, Jake, we're going to have an interview, and Adam is going to be your person. You look up him, find out what is the background. And so when you sit down with him, it's not a total surprise who you're being interviewed by. You can say, I saw that you went to X. I saw that you were involved in fall. I saw that you were at these 4 different jobs. I'm not saying it's 4 different jobs, but I saw that you were there. I had research on them. They have a good track record with that. You look like you have taken time to invest in information that's going to help you get that job. And then they start to say about money. Never talk to your other coworkers about your money. That's your business. And a lot of you will say, oh, this is the salary I want. I want you to stop thinking salary and start thinking compensation package. A lot of people don't hear about compensation packages until they're 15, 20 years into their job opportunity. And your mid-level managers say, oh my goodness, I should have been negotiating this at the beginning. I was just talking to them about, I wanted 50,000, I wanted 70,000, I wanted 120,000. Money is what you get in the paycheck. You know that, right? But you're going to have all these deductions. But your 401k, that's something that you should be putting in. And I'm giving you the 411. At the beginning, you max that out if you can. Don't get used to living on that full check. You need to learn to live on less than that check at the beginning of your careers. If you get 100%, start living on 80 and 75 and 70. You say, oh, I can't live. Yes, you can. Because if you live on 100, things are going to happen. And then you're going to be behind. And then you're going to be paycheck to paycheck. And everybody's lived paycheck to paycheck. At least I have, in my family, everybody's lived paycheck to paycheck. It's not fun. And during the pandemic, I'm sure it was not fun for a lot of families. But as you go to negotiate, you should be thinking about the package, which includes 401k, how many days of PTO, pay time off. Most people, it's 5 every 2 weeks. That's just the standard. Rarely can you get more, especially coming in like this. But you should be talking about, is there a signing bonus? You're asking because you already know there's a signing bonus. You've done your research. You know 5 people who say, oh, they have a signing bonus. You could get up to 5,000, 10,000, especially if it's a hot job. If you see them saying hot jobs, they got to fill those jobs because they either have a government contract and they need to make the money. And the longer they have that empty seat, that's money they can't invoice to the government or whoever they're going to get paid by. So make sure you invest in knowing what's going on when it comes to that first sit down of that interview. We all want the interviews, and then you're going to be having the sweats the night before. Oh, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to come across. They're people, you're people. They really want to see, are you coming in with some level of confidence? Are you smart enough to be able to say a couple sentences that make sense to them, that they can actually work with you and get the job done? Now, the communication about negative. I told you positive with Jake. Edom and I had a conversation. Here's the negative. Before I start the negative, I want to tell you something. Negatives are normally about things that are exterior, that have nothing to do with writing, analysis, mathematics, calculations, making the numbers work for a proposal, having a presentation, a reporting, all that kind of stuff. Talking about is exterior. I don't like the mole on your face. What does that have to do with my job? I don't like that you have size 10 feet. What can you do about that? I don't like the fact that Anita's black. What can I do about that now? What does that have to do with my job? I don't like that he goes and he prays 6 times a day. How is that? I don't like that he got in this job because his uncle is the vice president of the company. May be relevant for nepotism, but you talk to HR about it. You don't talk to each other about it, because what happens when you have a team, even a team of business, that stuff starts to fester. And even though you say, oh, it's not me talking, you're listening. And then guess what? If they're talking about that person to you, who do you think they're talking to about? I mean, somebody's getting, ever say a dog that brings a bone takes a bone? So yeah, you may be hearing about the flavor of the day, but guess what? One day you're going to be the flavor and they're going to talk about you. That is so negative, and it doesn't do anything but destroy a team. And I can tell you, as a manager, I've had situations where any of that stuff that's happening, if they don't come to me, the person being talked about, I go to the people involved privately in a group and say, we're not having this on my team. Because I deal with healthy. I don't deal with unhealthy. Because unhealthy causes me to have drama. And TNT does drama. I don't do drama. I go to bed at night and I make money. But I don't have teams that have, I would say, elementary stuff. But it's not elementary. When we come to this pillar here, cultural upbringing, this is where you find work ethic, integrity, character, biases, prejudice, destructive behaviors that have been compounded by years of mama, daddy, uncle, aunt, grandfather, the communities that we're in. And all of a sudden we have a situation where I don't like you, Jacob. Why? I've never done anything to her. I just don't like you. It's got a calic. I don't like you. I don't know if you do or not. I'm just making up stuff. Just saying, you got to be careful of cultural upbringing because you got to leave and check that stuff at the door when you go to work. How you feel about ethnic groups, racial groups, people that have money, people that don't have money. How you feel about if somebody likes to wear yellow versus wear pink versus wear red. That's not going to improve on the written policies or the presentations to the client so we can win $5 billion. That's not going to help. So some of that y'all got to check at the door. All right, I'm boring you. I say, okay, faith. How does faith come into the workplace? Everybody has some kind of faith. Agnostics have no faith. Atheists have no faith. Christians have faith. Muslims, Hindu, everybody has different faiths. It's not your business. It's their business. It's their personal business. So what you feel about that faith based on your cultural upbringing in the workplace, you can't bring that in. You can't use biases. And I'm not being negative. I'm just saying that when you start to have people who are being talked about, what's happening is they're bringing this stuff in and this stuff in. And guess what? It's coming in from finances too. Because finances, I heard he made $30,000 more than me. We're doing the same job. Oh, that's a problem. A supervisor that has that is going to have a problem, especially if he ran his mouth. It is nobody's business about your money. I've said it more than once. Nobody's business about your money. You could tell your significant other, tell your mom, but even in your family, you got to be careful about telling your money. You don't know, because my husband used to have an expression. You tell people about a lotto winning, it's the instant application for a loan. You tell people about how much money you're bringing home, it's the instant application for a loan. Because they getting the fix. I'm coming to get some money from Jake. I'm going to get some money from Bobby. I'm telling you, be careful about who you tell about your money. Another thing with the finances is that depending on how you spend your money, if you come in with a Jaguar, that's your business. But people are watching you. They're watching how nice you dress. They're watching where you go to eat, if you bring in your lunch, if you're frugal, if you're, they're looking at all these things. And based on what they grew up with, how they feel about somebody who's got a lot of money versus a little money, or they think if we're even, if we're equals. All of us are unique and different. Even if you're twins, you're different. But somehow when you get into the workplace, we all want to look like we're all the same, but we're not the same. I had people that didn't like me because I wore colors. I'm a woman of color. I love color. I had a woman that I was working for. She could not stand the fact that every day of the week I had a different outfit on. That's my closet. But what it was saying to her is that you're making money. Are we coming to work to make money? I thought all of us are coming to work to make money. But she was saying in her mind, you're making more money than I am. And I don't believe you deserve it. That's not her business. She's trying to control my life and her life. She only got her life to deal with. That's my life. What I spend my money on, what I invest in, what I save, what I buy, that's on me. And the thing about you and your teammates who will become workers one day, I want y'all to see me 10 years from now and say, I'm doing well, Miss Anita. I got a good woman in my life, or whoever your partner is in your life. The job I have, I went to 2 or 3 of them. They didn't work out, and that's okay, because this is a word you got to remember, pivoting. When you have situations that are not good for you, you know your own life. You know when it comes to a woman, and you know when it comes for your job. Pivot. Don't stay stagnant in something that you are not happy with. And there's some hard decisions to make, especially if you turn out to have a family and some kids. It's hard to say, I'm just going to walk away from a job. Don't walk away from a job without having another job. That's basic 101. Don't leave a job until you have a job. But if you have a situation, somebody's being violent to you, and you're going home sick, and you're angry, and you're just miserable, and you and your spouse or you and yourself say, we can do better than this. I'll live with my mom for a couple of months. I just can't go through that. That's your own choice, but do things for your best interest of yourself. Now, I talked about faith, talked about finances, physical. Oh gosh, I'm almost out of physical. Okay, you all are all athletes, so I know you're going to come to work not hungover. I know you're going to come to work on time. I know you're going to come to work with good nutrition, good bathing skills, smelling good, looking good, all that stuff. I'm assuming that's all going to be true. Here's the thing. There's going to be some beautiful women at your jobs. I would recommend do not get into any romantic relationships with people on your job in your sections. I can't tell you for the whole building that could have 500 or 700 women, but in your own little neck of the woods, try not to go and have relationships, because if that thing goes south, it's going to be messy. And you got to see her every day. And she going to have something to say about you. And you don't need that in your workplace. You need to come to work and focus on work. And if the supervisor sees you, and if you do decide, I can't tell you what not to do. I'm recommending highly, don't do it. But if you choose to have a relationship with a woman in your workplace, in your inner circle of your little team, don't let anybody know about it. I don't want any cutesy on the job. I don't want touching under the tables. I don't want any, oh, let's go do this. None of that. You play so straight with that person, nobody knows it. Because once they know it, it's a problem. Whether they say it in front of your face, to your face, there's going to be some unhealthy communication about you and your boo. I'm recommending don't do it. And if you become a manager and a supervisor, if you choose to have a relationship with your subordinate, which is not advisable, and for some jobs, you have to report it to HR because you don't want to be in somebody's supervisory chain and you're having romantic relationships, because your subordinates are going to see that and they're going to think favoritism. And it's not a good thing either, because think about this. You're at the job all day with your person. You go home and you're in bed with that person. And then you go to nonprofit charitable stuff with your person. You got to go to the grocery store. You have no space. It can work. It can. But I'm telling you, the odds are that it's not going to be a good thing. You need some space. One of y'all asked one of the questions, my girl wants me to be with her all the time. She doesn't like me to. You got to have your own quality time space. All right, now start writing your questions because I'm at 32 minutes and 8 seconds. So I tried to cover those different elements of a business relationship. So any questions you have regarding a business relationship, write them down. Write them down, or you're afraid. I told you everything you need to know. Y'all got jobs, Fortune 500, Fortune 100s already? Is there something about the romantic relationships that y'all want to ask me a question of? Wow, what are y'all asleep? Y'all get ready to run and do all kinds of stuff at baseball. I'm going to watch your practice. I'm coming to 2 games this weekend. Right, tomorrow and Saturday. No questions, really.
Oh, no, we got questions.
Oh, how to frame the questions. Okay. All right.
Do they have to be just business?
Whatever, it could be whatever relationship you want. It could be whatever relationship you want. Whatever relationship. I have my glasses to put on my face so I can read them. I'm going to look at my notes and also make sure I didn't forget anything to tell you. I also got to remind y'all, when you get a first job, make sure you really read your employee handbook and your standard operating procedures. It's going to help you, because when people try to do things that are not on the up and up, you know what's in your employee handbook and you know what's in your standard operating procedures. All right? Okay, let's get questions, because your coach is going to come in and ask me to give up my seat so y'all can go to your practice. All right, pass one. You can throw out a question. You can say it out loud if you don't want it. I'm hurt. What's going on? Y'all don't have questions? Y'all have all the answers? You were half asleep. Right in the front row.
Front row sleeper.
See, that's a hostile work environment thing I did. I shouldn't have called him out in front of everybody. I should have told him privately, you're tired. And think about what your coach can get away with, the supervisor can. It's totally different. I cannot come and scream at him. I cannot even call him out and tell him what he was doing, even though it was true. I can't do that. That's not how you would handle it. That's not being healthy. All right, come on, give me one question. I can turn around and not see who said it if it helps you. All right, come on. Are there questions or are there not questions? Yes, please. Yes, you can pretend it's somebody else. Yeah. Okay. This is somebody else's question. How do I get a girl out of my league who's also older? Okay.
So boo.
Okay, the word out of my league, I'm going to talk about that first. You are a person who has, what you're saying in that question is that you don't believe that you're worthy of having a woman that you find that is valuable and beautiful and eccentric and whatever the attributes you're saying. You're already telling me that your first person self isn't right. There's something going on where you think you're inferior and you're not deserving. So I have to first say to you, before you go to have a relationship, you have to check on this. Why are you think older is a different thing? I married a man that's 9 years older than me. My father was 25 years older than my mother. Age is not the issue. It's who is coming to the table as the two people coming together. If you're coming already thinking that you're inadequate and inferior and don't deserve having an older woman because she's got this and she's that, you got to work on yourself. Because if she is as great as you said that she is, I'm not going to say it meanly. I'm going to say it as positive as I can. What would be the benefit of being with you if you don't even think you're good enough? She's not going to bring you up. She wants you to come to her and know how special you are first, not arrogant, but how complete you are as a person, that you know what your goals and aspirations, that you know what you want in a relationship, that you know what you want in your future. You're whole. 1 + 1 is 2. Let the two come together. If you're already thinking you're 3/4 of the person, you're not worthy to even be at her level because she's older and out of your league. What is out of your league? If you're this incredible, you shouldn't have anybody out of your league. I saw a guy in high school, and he wasn't the greatest looking. He went after the cheerleader. Mel, I just won't put names. She and I were cheerleaders, and everybody wanted her. The guy that was in our homeroom class said, you would not have called him a handsome fella, but he knew he wanted her. He went up to her every morning in homeroom. How you doing? Name unknown, name unknown. And she said, I'm fine. Every day. How you doing? Would you like to be with me at lunch? He didn't think of himself lesser. He didn't think of her out of league. All the other guys. And when he got her, he was like, are you believing? I'll say the last name of Jones. It's not Jones. Jones got her? He went after her because he believed in himself. He knew he wanted to have a relationship with her and whatever. They got married. They're divorced now. But they did get married. But yeah, they lasted almost 27 years. But yeah, getting together young is not always an advantage. All right, what other fictional questions?
This is more like business.
All right.
related.
Okay.
A lot of us are seniors, and a lot of us have like girlfriends. And, like we're gonna be searching for jobs, and the job might be halfway across the country. We don't know yet. Or like, how many tips you have, like kind of like splitting, but still being together.
Okay, just to make sure no girls come after me because I'm going to be here this weekend. Just make sure that you don't. Okay. I think that you should give yourself time to explore your job and the passion you want for the career. And if it turns out that you have an opportunity that you think is a right fit for your life, you need to give yourself the opportunity to pursue your actual business opportunities. If it is a relationship that could stand the test of time and distance, it will. If she's here on the East Coast and you're going to the West Coast, she's got to be taking care of her own business. I would not recommend that she follow you and she live in your apartment while you're doing your thing, and she's got to wait and she's going to take some settled job that she's not really pursuing. Both of you you're in your second round of your life in the sense of that boxing ring. Yes, you have emotions, you care about each other, you're very special to one another. That is all true. Give yourself some time to explore your jobs, your opportunities. And guess what? If you go out there and she's there and all of a sudden you see this other person, was it really that, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it in a way. You're going to see other people and they may be, one of y'all asked this question, is it a soulmate? There are people in your life that you're going to be attracted to. Are you finished being single? You are in love and affection and she's wonderful and all this stuff. But you in your 20s, are you finished being single? And that reality is, even if you're 25 and 26, there are a lot of men that are in their 30s that are not finished being single. They are still in the hunt. And when you know that person that you no longer want to do anything else with any other bodies, because there are going to be every kind of body out there, big bodies, little bodies, curvy bodies, all kinds of bodies. Men are always going to love looking at bodies. I don't care if you're 70, 80, 100. You're going to like to look at other women. What you can do with them is a different thing at your age. But I'm just saying, I would take the opportunity and I would make sure that you all talk about whatever boundaries you're going to set for each other. But eventually, when you're separated like that, it's going to show you whether what you have is all 5 of these strong and tight, or you're really doing a lot of this, and maybe you're doing a little of this, but all of it is not ready for y'all to be taking the next step to say, we're done being single. She shouldn't be done being single, even though you're wonderful. You're absolutely wonderful men. But if it is real, it will last. And you may find that maybe y'all have some distance, but then you come back together after you've had 3 or 4 years separate. And you're older people. You're more mature people. You're whole people. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not criticizing any. I tell you all, you're intelligent men. But give yourself some time before you leap into marriage and the full monogamy, because it's not easy to maintain if you are not really finished being single. And a lot of you, I know you're not. And I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of men that are hurting right now because they married their high school sweethearts and now they're getting divorced at 30 years after, because they're 30 years different. They're different people. They've grown apart. Where they were cutesy friends and they love everything and everything, it's changed. And they didn't grow up together. They didn't grow together. They kind of grew apart. And the kids come because you are rabbits, 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. And you're taking care of kid business and bills and going to a job that you may not love. And then you have your person that you are married to, but sometimes it wasn't meant to be a long-term thing. You made it a long-term thing. All right, what questions? Some of y'all graduate and you won't see me for decades, possibly. You never see me on TV and say, I had an opportunity to answer a question. I had an opportunity. Yes.
What are some ways to facilitate more of that positive talking about or talking to? I feel like sometimes, especially, I notice this in my classes too, we don't know each other that well. It's hard for me to bring up a genuine issue or a genuine thing that I think about with
It's difficult because it deals with your fears and what are the consequences of having the difficult conversations with people who you don't know or you haven't gotten your guards down. But I think privacy is the greatest thing. Can I talk to you? And they'll say yes. They may say about what? It's like something I want to kind of talk to you privately about. If it's a student or if it's a professor, but you have to be honest. You have to tell them what is going on that you are thinking something is not right. Because what happens when you keep it in, it just gets like bitterness and upset. And then all of a sudden you want to run away. And things that are happening in our lives that are tough, you're going to face them again. What are you going to do? Run for the rest of your life? You're going to have to eventually stand up to the bullies. Even grown people are bullies. Older people don't make themselves smarter because they're older. It just means they have some bad behaviors, bad thinking. But you cannot let anybody else control you and them. You get to control you, they get to control them. But so when they start infringing on you, okay, what you going to do? Take it? You going to take it? You going to let them keep punching you in the face? And I say, okay, here, take this out. Oh, take this out. It's like, no, stop it. We need to talk. And you got to say, okay, this is not going to work. We need to do something about this. And if they don't listen, then you go to the next level, And in business, if the supervisor can't handle it, the team lead can't handle it, it goes to the next manager, and then you go to HR. And HR will handle it. And they have laws about retaliation. If you go to them about a problem that you identify and you get retaliated in the sense that they don't want to promote you, they give you lesser projects, there's something that you could tell you're getting stung because you told the truth. That's retaliation. And you file a claim with HR and you're going to go through a lawsuit, but you're going to get money, especially if you keep your evidence. Document. If you have bad behavior by anybody, document what's going on. Send an email to yourself because it's going to have a timestamp and you're going to document what happened. It's like a memorandum for the record, but it's going to have that timestamp to yourself, to your email. This just happened. He just called me a this. He just did this. And there was one dis that I didn't recognize or say, disingenuous. When somebody's disingenuous, they're liars. They're not telling you the truth. What they say to your face is not what they say behind the scenes. Oh, I'm smiling at Jake, but behind the scenes, I'm calling you every name but the child of God. Disingenuous supervisors, disingenuous players, disingenuous teammates, disingenuous anybody. That's a reflection on their first person. It's not about you. It's about them. There's some hidden hurt and wounds that are going on with them, and they're pushing that crap on you. And they're talking. If you're listening to that stuff as a coworker, you better be careful because you'll be drawn into something that really wasn't you. But the fact that you're listening, you're part of that. If they're saying disparaging things or ugly things in class, you're part of that. And you're like, oh, well, they're tough, they're smart. No, they have an issue. And their issue is not your issue. What other questions? It is now, my clock is saying 45. He hasn't come in, so we got one or two. Oh, the looks in this room. Was it beneficial? Are you getting something out of this? Okay. So what's going on with the ladies?
People are afraid to ask just out of the blue, I think. I think they like it random.
That's why you got to hand me the paper. I told you somebody's coming. I said, the paper. That's why I gave you the paper. Nobody's got anything written. All my beautiful index cards. Nothing. All right, I got to tell you something too. This just came to my mind. You're going to have papers to fill out when you get a job. You're going to have to show your proof of your citizenship, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have a lot of papers. You are to complete your own paperwork. Okay? I want to say okay. Complete your paperwork. The time for getting assistance and having people do your work, that's ended when you graduate. Let's start to do your own paperwork. Let's start to make your own decisions. Let's start to go to the interview with your own preparation. Let's get it all together now. And even the mental game, I'm thinking about the game because when I see you all on the field and I see y'all in the dugout, okay, this is related to business. I'm a manager. If I have my senior, how many minutes? Are you here to tell me stop? Nope. Okay, my senior managers, they have other people under them, but I'm always watching as the manager. And I'm watching the people coming behind. So I see you guys on the field that are the 9 that are doing your thing. Offense, defense, all that part, pitching, all that stuff. But I also look sometimes just to see what's happening in that dugout. Are people paying attention or joking around with it? As a manager, why would I elevate you if you're not serious? I'm going to trust my business, my profit and loss, and you're not even, because one day you're going to be in one of those 9s, but you haven't even been paying attention. Your mind has been focused because, you're not on the list. You're always possible. And you're going to have a future where you want to be on the list. But in the workplace, you always have to assume somebody's watching you because they are. They're watching how late you're working to do the deliverable. They're watching how you take time to be detailed and oriented, how you come to work. I see who comes at 5 minutes late every day. I come and see how they come in late and then they got to go first to go take a lunch break. You think that's all movies and TV? We watch. Who's coming in hung over after the happy hour that everybody went to that night, and don't go to a happy hour and get drunk and do stuff that you're going to regret the next day. That stuff comes back to bite you. Don't do it. You're going to party and do whatever you're going to do. Do it at home, but don't do it with your coworkers and with your supervisors that are right around you. And if you're a supervisor, don't party with your people too much. You can have a couple drinks, but don't be getting sloshy drunk with your coworkers or with your people that are subordinates. Okay. What questions? This is okay. Mental game. Y'all got to have a mental game in work. You got to have a mental game tomorrow, the day before. When things get down, you can't quit. Consistency. Yeah, the words that I use in business, I see every time I watch a game. Consistency, mental game, preparation, energy. The same things I use for work. The people that show them all the time, for the beginning to the end, they get promoted. The people that kind of say, I'm done. I'm tired. I can't do it. That's them. Don't be an encourager. You don't go far because it's your attitude is your aptitude and your altitude. I mean, that's a reality. Have a good attitude. I knew I was finished. Okay, gang. Thank you. I knew it was coming. Get my finish.